Bliss Unit. We are going to cover skincare presentation for new consultants, as well as if you feel like life has happened or you just need to renew your skills again. I just want to go over from the beginning to the end of your presentation so that you feel confident after having your first few, as you are practicing those, that you master your skincare class, as well as you are fully prepared for that as well. And so I want to go over some tools, as well as there's sub skills that you can master, but for time's sake, I don't want to make an hour video of what our presentation would be. And so I would like to feature sub skills, like for example, mastering your clothes. We have a separate video training for that, so it's not so long and it's more condensed, as well as, you know, you can grasp and run with it and have a class. And so I just want to, of course, I'm going to go through it pretty quickly, but I want to, in the beginning of your class, several before you even arrive to your appointment, whether it's at the studio or at your guest home or at your house, paperwork that you're going to need for each and every class, or excuse me, and as well every face that you do. And so one of the things when you're brand new that comes in your new consultant boot camp is your skincare class presentation. And what this is literally Christy in a box of, if I were teaching your class for you, how do you present from the very beginning of your class to what does Microderm do? What does the Miracle 3D set do? And so it literally walks you step by step as if you had the flip chart. What I love about this is just key points, keeping you on track versus, and again, if the flip chart comes in your starter kit, if you prefer to go by that, then great. Everybody learns differently and everybody's style is obviously different. What I want to point out is, remember, in the whole presentation of the flip chart is a little bit different than I teach. So I just want you to realize that there's going to be a differentiation there, because this is how the Bliss Unit and how we run our actual skincare class. So I just want, what I was taught in the beginning of my career with Leah was that I would cut out, like, if you wanted to absolutely use the flip chart, is cut out pieces of this and stick them on Mary Kay's flip chart on the back, or the note citations are, so that you can actually have the best of both worlds and use what we use, as well as if you prefer to use the flip chart. So that's just a tip. Okay, so this will help you when you're brand new. What I always did in the beginning was read through it at night, or whether it's on your lunch break or whenever it is, so you feel and you get those, you get the mastery skills of just cold turkey and literally feel like you're reading the whole thing when you're trying to. Of course, when you're brand new, everyone's going to know this is your practice facials that you're doing, because you're obviously learning and that's how you are going to learn. So don't feel bad about that at all. All of us have done it, as well as it gives them great hope as well. Okay, the 4 other materials that you are going to absolutely need is, you're going to need a profile card, which comes in your starter kit, a package of about 100. You're going to need one for every single guest. And of course, this is a separate training, but how do you pre-profile? That needs to be done prior to arriving, so that when you are setting up the trays, you know what formula to put for them. So that is critical, that you actually know what their skin type and information is before. And as you can see, I've had it circled, and then you can fill out their information. One for every guest. So what I do is, on the side or in back of the mirror, the profile is part of the table presentation along with their mirror. Okay, the other documents that you need, one for every single guest, is a referral sheet. This is beyond critical. Mary Kay Ash herself would say that it's like leaving $100 on the table if you did not because how this business evolves, whether it's a large business or very small, is when you facial somebody, it's like a rock trickling through the river. Is when you facial someone, do you want your business to honestly end there? She's going to give you referrals, and that's how your business grows to the capacity, of course, that you desire. And so highly recommend that you always want referrals. It doesn't mean that you're going to meet with every person on this list, but this is the true lifeline of your business. I would never recommend doing an appointment without a referral sheet. It is that important. Even when I was just brand new, working very, very part-time, my children were very, very little, and just practicing on neighbors. That was the beginning, because I lived out of state from all of my family. So this is really key, even if it's your neighbor. Somebody always knows others that you do not know. So this is very, very critical, is you need one for every person. Okay. The next is you need a marketing survey for each and every guest. Okay. And of course, when we go through the presentation in just a second, I will obviously let you know when you would need to present that and take that out. You're also going to need your closing sheet. Every single guest needs one of these as well. On the back, I have mine laminated. You do not have to have yours laminated. If you would like to, we have that 60% discount card. And of course, all of our documents is either in your new consultant bootcamp, on our Facebook Bliss page at the very top in the pinned post is where all of our documents that refer to the business is all loaded in that area. So if you can't find it, they're in multiple places, whether I've emailed them or they're on the Facebook unit page, okay? On the back of our closing sheet is a picture of the starter kit, because when you actually close, we reference both of the sets, not both, multiple sets that are located on here, what our specials are. And so highly recommend. Oh my goodness. Sorry that my dog is barking in the background. Okay. When you first have guests arrive, you are going to have also your satin hand set. Okay. And lips is one of the satin lip set. It does not come in your starter kit, but it is a prize that you do earn in your welcome orientation with me. So everybody I know has that. That's one of the, before you even start facials, you are going to have this set out at the sink. And you're going to start with, you're going to bring all your guests to the sink area, and you're going to do satin hands and lips at the sink first. And so now what we're going to do is we're just going to have a little trial run of what we would actually do and how we would set that up. Okay. One thing, if you have not done this yet, in your starter kit, of course, is all your little mirror stations. Okay. And I always let guests know that the mirror comes out very easily, as well as it tilts. And so they can adjust it right before they start their facial, or when they're actually looking, when they do half their face, then they can take that out, and it's easier to see the difference in their skin. So I always let them know, because it seems like a lot of them have no idea that it actually does come out. Sorry, it seems like the lighting's not very good. Okay. So when you are setting up the mirrors, okay, these little placemats come inside your starter kit. Okay. I always just put it literally, I'll probably have to tilt. Okay. So I just set this under. I never flip over. It has a closing sheet on the back. We have our own closing sheet with the starter kit as well as the bundles. We do not use the starter kit, so you're never going to need to flip it over. So that's why my mirror is on top and it stays put there. Also a headband, and if you don't have headbands, then I would recommend just literally going to the dollar store, Walmart, Target, and buy a bundle. Obviously, it's a business expense, but you want headbands in case any of your guests need it. Just because when they're actually cleansing or doing any of the masks to get their hair out of the way, it's just easier to have. Again, you don't have to have headbands, but highly recommend that that's something that you want to add, as well as you're going to want to add little cotton rounds to take their makeup off before you start the facial. So you'll want some of those in your bag as well. What I do is I have inside those black mesh bags, I just have a bundle of those and I refill as my bag needs it. And so that's one thing that you're going to need as well. We as a unit, to make it simplified for you as well as for your guests when you're running through facials, it's so easy for the guests because I'll show you the difference. So the mirrors come this way with the tray insert. Okay, but if you had no tray layout sheet, which are these, under it, once you get into, let's say, 2 and 3 and 4, they're wondering which product am I putting on. And so one thing that is honestly very helpful for you is when you are brand new and you're setting up, you know exactly where does the cleanser go, where does the primer go, etc. And so when you're saying, okay, it's time to put on your cleanser, they know exactly where to go. And so it's easy for you as well as for them to know exactly what products they're putting on in the moment while you're explaining, especially when you're teaching a skincare class, which consists of 3 or more, is considered a skincare class. And so when you're teaching to multiple clients, it's just easier for you, especially when you are brand new. Okay, so that is a document as well, the tray layout sheet. It comes 2 per page, and it is also listed in the documents of our Facebook page. You want to add those to the bag, and what I do is, obviously at the end of the class, this has been used and all the products are consumed. Obviously this goes in the trash, and when you restore them, you actually just leave your tray, so you're only going to need a set of them, and I actually laminate mine as well so that it wipes off if, let's say, foundation or cleanser or something went through the tray and got on your chart. So then I would recommend, again, printing those, and if you want to, you can laminate them. But then once you're packing up your bag and cleaning up to go home, then I just leave that and you'll always have them. So highly recommend for both you as well as the client, especially in the beginning, print your layout sheets so that you have those ready in your bag before you even leave for your appointment. It is just such a great, helpful tool. And again, as I mentioned in our skincare class presentation, every item, every product that we feature doing a facial is literally on that tray layout sheet. So it really helps you to know where everything goes, as well as what products that you're talking about, as well as the exact order, because we go exactly in order of what is listed in here. So it's very helpful for you. Okay, also next to it that I do have that's very helpful for you is to have a little bit of water, because if they're using combination oily or for masks or microdermabrasion, it's just nice to have some water to work with, especially if they do have combination skin. And so you don't have to have these. I've had consultants either not use them. I've used them with little Dixie cups before, where you can just buy those little miniature ones. I just purchased these literally on clearance, and I just save them and have them in my bag to be able to put water in. So you want water for your little cups, as well as the other item that I do. And again, this was as I built my business. Mary Kay, when I first started, didn't even have these brushes. But what you show the client obviously sells. They absolutely love it. And so when I started adding the Skinvigorate brush to my facials, everybody wants them. And actually so many clients are like, oh, it actually takes them. This is a moment. Women, this is why they love coming, is the fact they never get enough girl time or any pampering. And so for them to actually relax and be in the moment, to me, in my mind, I want them to experience all of that Mary Kay has. And of course, if you're selling a miracle set, they fall in love with the brush. They want the brush too. So what they experience, they want as well. Out of sight, out of mind. You're not going to sell any if you're not showing it as well as it presents. So here's a couple tips that you can do if you want to invest, want to get to a certain point where you can offer these at your facials, because they obviously don't come in the bags. And again, this is the old one. We're just switching over to the brand new one with even a massaging tip, but they haven't even arrived yet. They're so brand new. So anyways, I have quite a few of them. Each of my guests will always get one of these. One tip that you can do if you can't afford to get all of them, even at 50% off as you're building your store, is what you can do is at some point invest in one. If you can even get one for your entire class, and what you can do until you can get to the point where you have enough, just like you do mirrors, 4 of them, is you can use this as your hostess would start out first, or your main guest. And you can buy the refills. Each brush comes with 2 heads. And so you can buy an extra and then you'd have enough. And as soon as she's done, they each have their own head. And usually, you can put it near their water or right near their mirror. And they each have a head, and then they can rotate. So they can still experience it, and it just takes a second while one washes and then the others go. So they can take turns. Highly recommend it. Of course, your sales are always going to be higher because they absolutely loved it. And I get so many compliments that even the brushes that are out at the mall is $150 to $200 brush. They love ours better, and they buy it because they absolutely love the experience of how it felt, depending on the texture or how the osculation is and how fast it goes around, etc. So highly recommend, if you can add to that, make sure that's on your very first order to at least have one. Okay. So the other thing that you are going to want to have is a roll-up bag for your closing. So depending on your very first order, whether you earned it as a bonus, even if it's your bonus item, highly recommend, or it's your own bag and the only bag you have, make that be one that you actually use as your presentation as well. Because again, the eye sees what the eye wants. And so in your closing, they're going to want a roll-up bag as well. And so again, out of sight, out of mind. Very, very powerful in your closing, and highly, highly encouraged to make sure you get one as soon as possible if you have not earned it as a bonus item. Okay. So these are all of the tools that you will need just for your setup. Obviously, you want to make sure that in, let's say, step number 1, and the moisturizer would be according to their skin type. Purple is combination skin with oil in the T-zone area, or just oily all over their face. Even if it's just a little bit in the T-zone area, which is literally your T, then they would use combination formula. If they never have oil any time of the day, then they would use the normal to dry. That's what formula that you're going to use for them. Okay. Speeding right along, you have already done the satin hands and satin lips at the sink, and now everybody moves over to the table where you're doing your facials at. Okay. They put on their headbands, you get started. And in the beginning of your presentation, what you would do is introduce yourself, let them introduce themselves, get to know. This is relationship building business. And so they're going to fall in love with you as well as the products, and that's how you develop lifelong customers, okay? And so what happens next is you are going to, after introductions, you're going to tell your I story. And again, we'll have to have a separate training for that for time's sake, because I really want to focus on the whole presentation in a glimpse. And so what your I story is why you got started. What your powerful story is for example, I just wanted something more flexible for my children, and I love all that Mary Kay offers. It could be your story could change. Why you got started, why you're most excited. I'll give an example. One of my new consultants actually wants to buy her very first home. And so she has a great job now, but the current job isn't going to offer that additional supplemental income to be able to purchase a home. And so that would be a great way to say, this is what I'm doing and why you're most excited about your business. It could be as well as you're earning your very first car. And so you want to incorporate that. You never want to go over 1 minute because you have a presentation to do as well as your marketing and your close. And so you want to make sure that you have enough time for all of that. And so it's just a 1 minute elevator speech of what you're most excited about in your business and why you got started. That's what we call your why story in Mary Kay. After your why story, you're going to let them know what the agenda is for the day. So you're going to let them know that, whether they are a winner from a facial box, whether you're brand new and practicing, you're going to let them know that today is your first of your 2 appointments. We're going to focus on your pampering session and the facial treatments today. Your next appointment, you're going to have the full glam, where you can learn any makeup application technique that you've always wanted to learn, whether that's putting on multiple eyeshadows, whether that's contouring, etc. And so we're going to do that, as well as at the very end, I'm going to find out what your absolute favorite products were that you tried today. And I'm going to meet with you all. This is critical. I'm going to meet with you all individually at the very end, as well as schedule your glamour appointment. And they could choose, if they're not a makeup diva and they really don't want, but most generally, there's a lot of them that do. But there is a percentage that do not want glamour. If they choose at their second appointment, they can do a spa appointment and try different spa product supplement that we do have instead of a glamour. So we're going to schedule that at the very end, and you just want to let them know how your skincare class is going to run so that they know in advance that you are going to meet with them individually. So at the end, they're like, what is she doing? Why is she pulling us out separate? We're here as a bunch, we're having fun, and why does she want to meet with me? What is this all about? So that's why I let them know in advance what the whole class is about, as well as what they're going to be doing and trying, as well as planting the seed that they do have a glamour appointment. You want to make sure that, it could have been that you're meeting with them to do makeup as well. So we don't do the whole 9 yards, because then I let them know that to customize everybody's makeup as well as to do facial treatments, we would just be here for hours. And obviously your skin looks beautiful when you've cared for it. And the main focus is the facial treatments first. So I let them know all of that in advance. Okay. So what you're going to do first is, and again, it's in the skincare presentation, you're going to run through. What I have them do is dip the brush in the water, and they go straight to number 1. And while they are cleansing, whether it's upward, outward motion, young is up is young. You got to remember down is old. So you always tell them you want an upward motion, as well as it just gets in under the skin to get the impurities released out. Okay, you're going to tell the benefits of what our cleanser does for the 3D. Then what you're going to do, this is critical, also prior to your appointment, one of your tools besides your documents that you need is you want a thermal bag. And why you want a thermal bag is it keeps your washcloths warm. And again, you have a packet of disposable washcloths that come inside your starter kit. Again, there's no right or wrong. This is just the way I do it, as well as it's more of a spa experience. You could get to that some point later, depending on your travel or where you're at. It might not call for that. But if you can, I would eventually highly recommend getting to real washcloths. And again, it's like your makeup rounds and your headbands. It's a business expense. You're going to write that off. Make sure you save the receipt and buy. You can go to TJ Maxx or Marshall's and buy a bundle of them for very inexpensively. But I highly recommend to get real washcloths at some point. Okay, I always use 2 washcloths per face. So I automatically know how many needs to go inside my bag. And why I would say you could do it, there's small crock pots that you can put them in to keep them warm, but it is a whole new experience, as well as I have almost every client goes, oh my gosh, it feels so wonderful because they're warm. And so you don't want to give them a cold washcloth. So to keep them warm and to have a great experience is, and again, what their experience is what truly comes in the future, because that's why they refer their friends and they want their friends to have a facial as well, because it was wonderful experience. And so it's not just currently, it's actually for the future as well. Okay, so you want to have either a thermal bag or some type of crock pot, or even, I've done it before I did the thermal bag, is a Ziploc bag that you can keep all of them warm. Okay, so I have my washcloths in here, and even if you don't have real ones yet, then put your disposables in here as well too, but it keeps them warm for a while so that you're able to actually, by the time, because as I'm doing all my setup, it's always a half an hour before the client. That's just a general thumb. It takes 30 minutes to set up, to get ready and make sure you have everything put together. And the same thing would hold true if you're going to someone's house. You're not going to arrive, let's say your appointment's at 2 o'clock. You're not going to arrive right at 2. You want to have time to actually set up for your entire class or for just a facial before the start time. Reason being is you want to make sure that you have all this done prior. You don't, let's say your skincare class is an hour. You don't want to take another 20, 30 minutes to actually set up for that. So that's just a tip. You just want to make sure that you want to add that into your time to arrive early. So if my appointment's at 2 at the studio, then I'm going to arrive by 1:30 to set up. Okay. And when I set up and I'm putting all the products inside the trays and getting all my little cups out, washcloths warm. The washcloths are warm prior to arrival. Again, I'm not going to take time out from their busy schedule as well. I'm going to honor their time. Time is very valuable. It is to them as well. And so I want to respect that. And I want everything to be done prior to them arriving. And so washcloths are in here. And then when I need them at the particular time, then I can also, one tip that I do, and again, I've done many facials without, but to give them a more spa experience. And I have so many people go, oh, it's just wonderful. They absolutely love it, again, because it's a real washcloths with lavender. I sprinkle a few drops after I warm them. I sprinkle a few drops and I put this. Again, you can get this at the health foods. Almost every store has it now. It's an essential oil, and you just need a couple of drops. Literally, I just recently replaced this, and the one prior lasted me many, many months. And so you can get a bottle of it, again, at even TJ Maxx for like $4 or $5. Again, you don't have to have this. This is just something that I and a lot of our consultants in our unit do it, just so it's more of a true facial and beauty experience versus that's what differentiates you. And again, it's not required, but highly recommend to have your thermal bag or a Ziploc, because I've done many of them where it's out of town too, but make sure that you do keep them warm. If I'm not, for some reason, I've been at an appointment, and again, I'm not perfect either. There's been times where I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot my bag. I usually keep it with my starter bag now, so it's never forgotten, and it reminds me of how many washcloths that I need to bring with me as well per face. If you're just doing it from home, then you can actually just get them hot right then and there. But again, do as much as you can to have everything done prior. Okay, next step, what we're going to do is you're going to cleanse. You're going to talk about your cleanser. And the next step is the moisture renewing gel mask or the charcoal mask. Okay, and that's in step 2, and it says mask on the tray layout sheet as well. That is the time that you are going to do, you're going to pull out your referral sheets, because the mask needs to dry for a minimum of 10 to 15 minutes. So you're going to play a game. They can earn some free product, as well as they're going to give you referrals. And this is the time that your referral sheet, when the mask is drying, comes out. Okay, so that's what you're going to do next. What I let them do as well is I let them know, okay, everybody is so blown away and shocked. This is truly a miracle in a bottle. This is why it is called a Miracle 3D set. I want you to see how your face is firm, lifted, softened, and see the difference in your skin. And women are absolutely shocked. And so what we'll do is we're going to pick a right or left side of your face, because these next few steps, I want you to take your mirror and look at the difference, because usually on one side it's firmer, it's lifted, it's truly uneven, even in 18 to 20-year-olds, because our skincare is so powerful, as well as you sell a lot more, because they are like, oh my gosh, they cannot even believe it. So this is a strategy as well as important. And then I say, okay, I promise you, I know that you're not going to go out uneven, but I want you to see and feel the difference after the treatments, and then we'll catch up the left side really quickly. So it only takes a second, but this is what we're going to do. Okay, so then while you're doing that, sorry. Okay, so what we're going to do next is the mask is drying. You do the referral game during that time. Okay. Next is microdermabrasion. And so microdermabrasion, what I used to do is half of the face. Microdermabrasion, you don't have to leave on. It is instant gratification. It is immediate. You can wash it off. You don't have to leave it on like you would a mask. What I've recently been doing is only doing the nose, because that's usually where the larger areas, and if they want to do the entire face, then they can actually, oh gosh. Okay, sorry, I thought it was an emergency with my daughter because she's not here right now. Okay, and so microderm, the grittiness of it is just easier to remove really quickly, and then if they want to, they can choose that as a spa to do their whole face or do it at a second appointment. It's just easier to do and streamline. And whether they did it on the back of their hand or on part of the nose, they are blown away. They can literally see the difference in their skin as well as their pores. It's a huge difference. And so that is something new that I've been doing, just only on the nose for microderm. And then step 2, you do not wash that off. And again, the benefits are inside the presentation. Your pH, it's a deep exfoliation, so your pH balance does come down. And so you want to put fresh antioxidants, vitamins back to the skin, as well as a pore minimizer. Stays on, you do not need washcloths after that. The second washcloth, let me back up, because that phone call threw me off. And so You do need a washcloth. Why I use two is for the mask. The second one for cleansing. Okay, so one, and you have two different ones. Then you're going to move down, and again, the part of the Miracle System is day and night. So let's say it's an evening appointment, then I would use the night cream versus the day, because they're not going to need the day cream with SPF for a nighttime put my face to bed. Okay, what I do for the second one so that they can experience it, let's say we're doing the night treatment right now, the daytime one, they can put on their neck. I always let them know that the neck ages 3 times faster than the face. So you want to make sure that as you get in this good skincare regimen, that they're also doing the neck, even if it's only at night. And so they can experience what the day or the night is when they do one or the other on their face. The next is the eye cream. And again, the benefits of the eye cream is inside your skincare class notes. And in the beginning, I used to do it just like this. It was just one of these clear folio sheets, and it just sits right by you as you're teaching. It is extremely helpful for you. Or obviously your flip chart. The next is foundation primer. Foundation primer, again, the benefits are in there. Hollywood's best kept secret. Are you excited about it? Have you ever tried it? There's many women that, yes, they have, and there's a lot that have not. And the ones that have tried it all fall in love with, no matter what brand it is, they all absolutely love ours. It's so silky and smooth. So at that point, after they have done the eye cream, is when they still do only a stipple healer here under the eye area. And at that point is look at their friends, they look at you, they look in the mirror, feel their skin, see the difference. It's a comparison. And then after that, after the eye cream, after they've looked and had their aha moment, then they quickly do the moisturization and the eye and catch up the other side very quickly. 8 is which is foundation primer. The very last step here is where we put our foundation primer in. That one is all over the face. Okay. So really quickly, the cleanser is step 1. It's the entire face. Usually it's with the brush, the entire face. Here, these next few steps, all the way to 7, half the face. Look in the mirror, touch and feel, complement each other. Back to foundation primer at 8, all over the entire face, okay? Then after they put on foundation primer is when you would actually take your CC creams out of your starter bag, and it's going to match usually just in the cheekbone area or right here at the jawline. You just literally just do a stripe test to find out. If it blends, obviously it's their color. How it's so easy to match CC creams is there's 5. And so it has color correction built in besides foundation. And so it matches to the exact match. And so then once you do that, then what you're going to do is your marketing presentation, and literally this is really helpful because you can have one for yourself just to literally read and let them know. And then there's a few questions down below that they answer and put their name in. And then you're going to do your roll-up bag close. So you're going to feature your roll-up bag. This is what our specials are today. And you are going to take your closing sheet, and that's when everybody gets one. You're going to go through the sets, and then I say in between the price points is the starter kit bag, and then you move up to the top ones. After you've closed, who needs to go first? And so they could have either all rowed together, or somebody, has a sitter waiting. They need to be the one that's closing out first. So you're going to take them to, whether it's the kitchen, a different room in the studio, and that's where your money bag is going to be, as well as catalogs. Of course, your calendar needs to be there as well to book their second appointments. Okay, we're going to have a separate training for profile cards. Where's my profile cards? So whenever I meet with somebody, they bring all their documents with them to close out with me. So they're gonna have profile card on the back is where you're gonna have the questions, what their wish list is, your marketing sheet, as well as referrals. So they bring everything, and then the sale obviously happens at that time, as well as you book your appointments, future hostesses for parties. If they're interested in the business at that point, of course, you're going to set up the career chats at that point, and then you're going to move on to the next person that's going to close out next. And I also always bring the roll-up bag with me, or I have one at my closing table, so that they can actually see and feel, and of course remember all the products that they tried and that they loved at my closing as well. So bring it with you if you only have that particular one when you actually close with them. Okay, I hope this was extremely helpful for you. Of course, we're going to do different segments for the actual segments as well.